morning. Good morning. So I always like to start with positive things. So does anyone have any good things they want to share? Anything exciting going on?
I
Sure,
do.
Michael. Oh, sorry, ladies first. Lisa, especially Lisa.
I got my second South Carolina listing and I'm so excited about it.
You got it?
I got two, yeah. And I got an open house this weekend in South Carolina. So it's just exciting to see things coming together.
I love it.
Thank
They didn't take you
you.
long at all. So, and what,
No.
like, seriously, what a good example, like, you've been there, what, a month and 2 weeks total in a brand new area where you don't know anybody and you got two listings. So that is huge. So that's like I think a positive thing for new agents for sure, or people just getting started. I love it.
Thank
Michael.
you.
Thanks for the help. Thanks with your help, right? I actually obtained the listing. I wasn't here last week, so I actually obtained it last week before your meeting, but I was here last week. So we got a listing on that. That should be going live here in a couple of weeks. And then we just got another buyer under contract and I got a referral from that buyer already.
Nice. So Michael has a listing coming up. That one will be in Taylor, a nice location in Taylor. So that's exciting, and a buyer that already gave him a referral. So those are nice. We like those. And they're not even closed yet. So he must be giving good customer service if he's already getting referrals from them. Oh, right. They must like your face, Michael. Anyone else have anything cool they want to share? Morning, Shannon.
Today.
Oh, Mike has a listing, a hot listing in Dearborn Heights.
42 showings.
42 showings, not even on the market officially until today.
Goes at noon today.
Noon today. So Dearborn Heights is hot. If anyone is like, if there's anywhere to drum up business, I swear to God, Dearborn Heights is just crazy. I know Kelly was writing an offer on a Dearborn Heights listing about, I don't know, maybe a week and a half ago. And she literally called the agent. The agent's like, the offers are stupid, like ridiculous. I mean, like the appraisal guarantees were huge and people were bidding so far over. So Dearborn Heights is a very hot market right now for sure. A lot of cash buyers too. So if you're putting prospecting efforts in, it's a good city. Anyone else?
Listing goes live Friday, hopefully.
Oh, the Riverview one?
Next Friday.
Riverview?
Lincoln Park.
Lincoln Park. Okay. Herman's got one coming up in Lincoln Park. So keep an eye out for that. And
Mine's finally going live today.
Russell's, yep, Russell's is going live today in Brownstown. So we got some movers and shakers in here doing some cool things, which is awesome.
The spring market is live.
The spring market is here, Lisa, right? I mean, I think it started in December, but that used to be like our ongoing joke, you know, because people would be like, oh, well, I want to wait till the spring market. I want to wait till the spring market. We're like, it's now. It's now. Now is the spring market. So anyone else have anything? Shannon, she got an offer accepted yesterday in Ann Arbor and a clear to close next week. Oh gosh, what am I doing? What am I doing? There we go. Closing on a sale I thought was gonna fall through. Oh my God. I have had those before and those are so sad. And the emotional roller coaster you go on when you think something's gonna fall apart. I've had one of those and like cried with my buyers, and then you love the Hail Mary where it comes together, and it's such a relief for sure. Anyone else? I never mind good news. Morning, Steph.
Morning.
All right, so today I want to talk, and Ingrid's going to actually put something in the chat for those of you who aren't in live in person. And today I want to talk about the job of real estate. And the reason I want to talk about it is because in the market that we're in, it has truly become a job. Right. So when the market is fast and there's the frenzy of buyers, interest rates are low, and there's a lot of incentives to buy, the market really ends up kind of easy, right? Because buyers are motivated to buy. They want to capture it while the interest rate is happening, you know, or if it's a good market for buyers, they want to, you know, take hold of that and really capitalize on that. But in the market that we're in right now, we're in that lack of inventory market. and where buyers still have that mentality that interest rates are high. And I'm telling you, I fielded like 5 calls this week and all of them said the same thing. Yeah, we'd really prefer to wait till interest rates go down. And it's like, I kind of have bad news for you. It's not going to happen anytime soon, or I don't foresee it happening anytime soon. And so it's really getting them to embrace that the interest rates are what they are. When, obviously COVID was there, interest rates were ridiculously low. Everything was weird, right? I mean, everyone was wearing a mask, everyone was quarantined. There was like tons of like strange things that happen. And I'll always turn it back to, they lowered the interest rates that much to keep the economy stable, because if the real estate market would have fell out at that point and everyone would have stopped, it would have been detrimental to the economy. And so sometimes when I put it through that lens, they kind of are like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I've had a couple of clients, oh, no, we think we're just going to rent. And I'm like, well, okay, you're going to be paying like at least, $16,000 a year to rent a property because you don't want to purchase while the interest rates are high. So it's just like a lot of these conversations that are, educational and from a place of love. Of course, my goal is to save you money. My goal is to get you in a home that you can be in, for the long term. And, the interest rate is temporary, but there is a chance that it could stay where it is. I'm just being honest. So real estate has become work and in a different way than it has probably the last 3 to 4 years. And a lot of our agents are newer, so it's going to be different than what you've experienced. So part of what I wanted to do today is talk about the agent you are currently and maybe where you could improve. And so I created an agent self-assessment. Ingrid put that in there. I don't know, Brett or Michael, if you guys don't mind passing it around to the rest of you. And what I did was kind of look at the things that are most important to being a successful real estate agent. And I feel like every week we talk about different things in our trainings, but they all are really important parts that make up the whole of the real estate agent that you are. I'm going to change my name on here. Someone said something last week, like, you don't look like Mike. I always forget to do that. So, and these are really in a particular order. These aren't really in a particular order. However, they're all important components to make you a whole real estate agent. And it's not meant to be overwhelming, because obviously you can't be crushing it at all of these. But once you learn the components of what's going to make you a great agent, you can improve on those areas. And we always, I said last week, and I'm going to keep saying this, it's okay to go to trainings, right? But you need to start applying things, right? Sometimes we can fill our lives with so many trainings that we're not actually applying what we're learning. So to me today, this is huge. If you can apply some of these to what you're doing and maybe see some of the gaps that are not filled or that maybe you're lacking in, then maybe you can customize your training a little bit so that you're focused on what you actually need to learn to be the best agent that you can. So the first thing is networking. So obviously, especially in our company, but in the real estate in general, GMAR has things and RealComp has classes, and there's events constantly that lenders are throwing and title companies are hosting. And are you truly networking at these events? So my natural instinct, if I go with, my homies, like my friends to something, my fellow real estate agents, I tend to want to hang out with them. But that's not really what I should be doing. And it's hard because especially like the bigger events that you go to, you really should be making connections with other agents in the industry, if it's an agent-led activity, or even if it's a social party or some sort of gathering. Really be intentional about making a connection with someone new. This business is 100% about relationships. Like Mike's the perfect example. Yesterday we were at a Real Producers thing, and I feel like he connected with every person there in some way so that he had some sort of rapport with them. and he made some really good connections that could lead to future things. And I feel like that's a great example. Michael Curry, he was working the whole room, right? He's meeting different people because you never know, and you're not necessarily meeting so that hopefully you'll get something out of them one day, but it's making these connections and relationship building that may improve or assist your business in some way or your personal life, just depending on the connection that's made. And additionally, when you're at these social events, take time to meet someone new, right? There's so many opportunities that have come to me just because I was friendly to somebody, and it would come back around and then they would be looking for real estate assistance. Good morning. And so I think it's huge, and it sometimes takes, especially for introverts, because I know some of us on here are introverts. I was an introvert. I'm a what is it? What is it called? Like a converted introvert, right? Because I was always the wallflower. I always was, especially if I was at a party and I only knew the host, I would like sink into the background instead of like being bold and maybe introducing myself to someone that was sitting by themselves. And so now I'm that person. Like if I see someone by themselves, I intentionally want to go over to them because I felt like that before. And so, just introduce yourself, ask one of those questions we've talked about before, family, occupation, recreation, dreams, goals. I mean, there's tons of things you can talk about the venue, talk about how they know the host, talk about what brought them here. If you know they're in the business, how long have they been in the business? What excites them about it? What do they love about it? And, just make sure that you're putting yourself out there, because the more of the connections you make through networking, the more your business is going to thrive. So the next is building your sphere. And this is the hugest thing to me, and what has really kept my business stable for so long is that I work very diligently to constantly be building my sphere, making more connections. And obviously this is kind of a derivative of this networking thing, right? So if I'm with a group of my people and there's someone that I don't know, I want to get to know them. And that's part of building my sphere. If I'm making calls and, maybe it's a just listed, just sold calls, and they're like, you know what? No, I'm not really in the market to sell right now, maybe in 2 years from now. And I'll always joke and say, oh, great, I'll be a real estate agent until I'm 100. So can I keep you in my network, or can I keep you in my, on my list and reach out periodically? So that's a great way to add to your sphere. So even if it's not right now business, maybe it's business in the fall, maybe it's business 3 years from now when they retire. But part of that is all building your sphere, and it should be big, right? So you go get your haircut, you go to the dentist, you go to the doctor, you go to your favorite bar, wherever it is, you should be trying to connect with people constantly, especially, if you're going to your dentist, you're giving them your business. Wouldn't it be reciprocal if, their hygienist comes back to you, or your barber, or your hairstylist, or your manicurist? If it's all reciprocal, and you never know who they know. I got a massage from a girl, and so we were just talking the whole time. I'm half the time I'm on the borderline of sleep during a massage, and half the time I'm chatty. It just depends which Amy you get. But this time I happen to be chatty Amy, so I'm talking to her and asking her questions, and she's talking, and she was like, oh yeah. And she asked me what I did, and I told her, and she was like, oh, we're going to be looking for a house next spring. And so we're almost there, and I reached out to her, and, so we're connecting now because of that conversation. But in the meantime, and that was a long time ago. I mean, that was probably last summer. And which seemed like a long time, but it zoomed right by. And in the meantime, she referred me to somebody else. I said, I know you're not ready right now, Emily, but if you run into anyone else that is, please send them my way. So it's just these little tiny, connections, and actually asking for the business where it can come back to you. Any comments on either of those thus far? Oh, Michael loves to document, which doesn't surprise me, because this is how Michael thinks. So just a little analytical. He's like the analytical driver all day long. Um,
What's one of the things we hear? Numbers. The power of success is in numbers. The more people
Yes.
you
Yeah.
talk to, the more people you interact with, the more potential you have to grow your business.
100% power in numbers. The more people you know, the more people you connect with, the more you grow your business. And that is just it. In this industry specifically, and I can't, if someone could name something that it's more important in, shout it out. But like, really, there is nothing more important than the more people you know. Did you have something? What was yours? Do you have something? That's what I thought. All right, keep it quiet. Keep it quiet over there, peanut gallery. I don't know, they're running.
Hey,
their mouth
Amy,
off
do you
something.
have any
Whatever.
do you have any tips for people that sometimes it's hard to like walk up to a stranger if you're at an event and kind of like, do you have I don't know, resources, good icebreakers, something that you don't feel like a tool walking up to somebody?
Yes. And that's the first thing, right? I think we all have this fear of rejection, right? It's this fear when we're making phone calls. It's this fear when we're approaching people that people are going to respond negatively or it's going to be awkward. And Mike saw me yesterday, had an excruciatingly awkward conversation with a woman who was just like, I just kept having to ask questions and I'm good at it now. But someone like that, I would have probably moved on more quickly. Normally, I would have been like, okay, nice to meet you and moving on. But I was really trying hard because I am to the point where I like challenging myself, right? Because if I can have a conversation with a dry piece of toast, then I've succeeded, right? And I managed to talk to her for a good 10 minutes and learned quite a bit about her. And a lot of it is just question asking. People generally like to talk about themselves. So it's kind of an easy thing. So just asking questions about them. And again, there's like FROG or Ford, which was family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Like that's a good like acronym, like to, kind of get, what do you do for work? Or have you been here before? Or if you're, at a restaurant, have you been here before? What have you ordered the last time? Or where do you guys usually go out to eat? Or gosh, this food is so good. Like complimenting them on something is a great opener. Lisa's like pro at that. She always finds something amazing to compliment people on. I think, anything, but always approach them with a smile, right? That's huge. People, if you smile at them, their nature is to smile back at you. And I was at Oak Barrel the other night and I was talking to the manager there and they were talking about, it was two managers of Tacos and Tequila was there too. And I was talking to the two of them and they were talking about how much the employee like quality has gone down. Like being on time, like following like rules that they have, how they engage with people. And if you pay attention to that, it's different. Especially I was in the service industry for a very long time. And like, they'll be, like this when they're taking your order, like no eye contact, they're not smiling, low energy. And I was talking to them about that, like how it's so different. And you really can make an impact on people if you're engaging. The more engaging, positive, interactive, excited you are about what you're doing, the more that response will be the same. It's reciprocal. You bring the energy, they're going to bring it back to you. You're smiling, they're going to want to smile back at you. They're going to want to get to know you, right? If you approach someone and you're like, hi, I'm Bob. Like no one is going to want to talk to you, right? But if you're like, hi, I'm Amy. Have you been here before? Or I love your shoes or whatever, they're going to get excited and they're going to want to engage with you.
Why did Bob have to be the down guy and Amy's up person?
Okay, so then I would reinvent Bob and be an excited Bob. Not you, Bobby, a different one. You're Bobby in my head. I wasn't thinking like you, Bob. Sorry. It's just a generic name. Sorry, no hate. I promise. Anyway, so going up to people and being excited is going to make you more engaging and people are going to want to interact with you. All right. Yeah, of course.
Regardless of who it is, I mean, obviously everyone's a little different, but if you walk up genuinely humbled and like you're interested to interact and introduce yourself, that goes a long way because they see that you're asking or whatever, you care what their answers are.
Oh, for
You want to
sure.
know more about them. You don't want to go, hey, this is who I am and this is what I do.
Yeah.
When you ask them certain things and they answer, you really engage, genuinely with, that they can see that you really care what their answers are.
Yeah.
People
If you
like
don't know someone, what do you typically say to them? Like when you walk up to somebody?
it depends. I mean, even like yesterday, I didn't know every single person there, but I'm always gonna just introduce myself, who are you? What do you do? I go right into what are they about?
Mhm.
Where are you out of? What do you do? What brings you here today?
Mhm.
You want them to talk, and then you
Yes.
can always respond off of that. When
Yes.
you're the one that's driving the conversation, it gets boring for both of you.
Yeah.
And that's a Dale Carnegie thing, right? People care about their everybody cares about themselves. So
Yes.
if you make them the highlight of the conversation, that's how you win people and influence them.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
doing what Dale Carnegie.
Yes, all about caring about other people. And I love the line, like, what brings you here? Like, that's such a good opener because that's like a floodgate, right? Because then they might start talking about work or who they know or at the party or whatever it is. I think that's a great opener.
So no matter how successful or famous or popular the person is, when they connect with you that way, those are the ones that do it right. You can tell they don't come in and, hey, look who I am. Let me tell you about how great I am. People don't want that.
Yes. And I'm sure everyone has met at some point in a networking event where someone comes and they just start telling their like monologue of who they are and why they're important. It's like, it's not exciting to people. My sister will say like, she only does that, like starts talking about herself, not in that way, but like only if like, they're like, they won't talk at all. Then she'll just start talking about herself, like just fill the space. But otherwise just asking good questions. And that leads to another question that leads to another question, because obviously if they tell you, oh, I'm here because I know blah, blah, blah. Oh, where do you know them from? Or I'm here because, I'm being recognized for this. Oh, awesome. How long have you been in the business? Or how long have you been doing that? So just feeding off of their questions, but asking, have a few good opening questions depending on where you are. And you'll have like an arsenal and you'll feel more comfortable, and then you can try out different questions, right? And also based on, it's funny because Bill the other day said to me that people walk, I'm not going to quote it exactly like he said it, but your body language says something about you, right? So if you're warm and open and smiling, that's different than if you're, hunched over and like, like walking around like a robot. So, okay. So the next is follow-up. This one is huge, and you'll hear agents say over and over that money is lost if you are not following up, period. Money is in the follow-up all day long. And I will stand by this, because if anyone has been in the business for a while and you know that you weren't following up the way you should have, and you lose a listing because of it, like it is excruciatingly painful, especially if it was a client that you had good rapport with. And a lot of times they don't use you because they just forget about you, right? You're not moving every year. So follow-up is huge. And this goes back to that sphere again. Once you have a sphere, follow up with it, stay in front of them, be mindful of them on a regular basis. You are supposed to reach out to your sphere, your entire sphere, once a quarter. What keeps you in front of their minds more than that? Right? When they see you, well, I have like right now, I think 453 of like past clients. Like those are people that have used me before. And for the most part, I mean, maybe I've taken 10 or 15 off because they were nasty, but for the most part, everyone has been great that I worked with, where like, if I see them out, I'm going to hug them. They're going to hug me. They're going to be excited to see me. And that's what I want out of my business. I want clients that like me that much. And so I want to stay in front of them. So that's part of my follow-up too. If you've had a lead, that's good, but maybe they're not ready now. Make sure you're staying in front of them. Make sure that you're reaching out to them. And I think the rule of thumb is if they say, oh, it's 6 months, make sure you're contacting them in 3, because sometimes things change and you don't want to miss out on a business opportunity if you're not at the top of mind for them. Prospecting, everyone's favorite. This is so huge, especially in the market that we're in now. You have to be on the phones. You have to be building your business, and there's not an excuse for not doing that. It's just what you have to do. So rating yourself on your prospecting, if we're honest, like right now, I'm at like probably a 3 or a 4. I'm doing well with my sphere, but as far as building new business, it's not nearly where I would like to be. And I am, trying to dedicate that time. And Lisa's like just setting such a great example because she really put a commitment out there publicly. And sometimes it does take that where you're literally time blocking every day. And Lisa loves accountability. And so usually she'll drag her friends along to be accountable, so that she knows that she's going to do that, right? That's a Bill Blevins thing for sure. Admin, that's a huge thing. You have to like be on top of your paperwork. You have to process things in a timely manner. It's so easy to get distracted. So this kind of goes with the next one too, and the time management. You have to manage your time as a real estate agent. This is the thing you have to, between those three things, prospecting, admin, time management, this is where kind of your job lies, really. Prospecting is huge, obviously, because you're building your business, but doing the admin that goes along with that. If you're doing admin while you're distracted, it's going to take you so much longer. Obviously, there are transaction companies, shout out to my transactions. Yeah. No, but seriously, like having your paperwork systematized so that you have a good way to manage your paperwork is so huge. And I highly encourage you each to come up with a system that you will stick by, and that so that every transaction is exactly the same as far as your paperwork, and that you're taking your time to actually do that. So this is something to keep in mind. Like when I say this is a job, like if you were a waitress and you went to work and you sat in a chair all day, would you be showing up to work? No. I mean, you would be there physically, but you're not going to make any money doing it. You're just sitting there. You don't have customers. Or if you were a hairstylist and you show up to the salon and you sit in your chair all day and don't take a single client, are you showing up to work? No, you're not. You're showing up, but you're not showing up to work. And real estate is the same. You can't just like hope that it falls on your lap. You have to put the work in. And it's it's an exciting career, of course. So we talk about that all the time. The income is huge. The potential is huge, but the people that are making the money are putting the work in. And so think of it just like any other, if you're working in a bank 9 to 5, but you stayed in the bathroom all day, right? You're not actually working. So think about putting the work in, showing up just like you would, just because you are employed by yourself, or even if you are on a team, you are there to work and put those hours in. Treat it just like you would a 9 to 5, just like you would a night job, just like you would a factory job. You are working, you're there to work. Do real estate. Can anyone say, yes, I'm committing 4 hours a day exclusively to building my real estate business? Probably not. But it's important that you're doing that so that you can have a consistent and predictable business, especially because you're working for yourselves. So the next one is, excuse me for one second. Any comments, questions? Okay. So the next one is marketing. So this is one that is huge. I was talking to Stacy yesterday. She said her accountant said that is the biggest write-off that you get as a real estate agent is marketing. You can write off such a huge portion of that. So, keep that in mind. People need to know who you are. People need to be aware of you, your brand, what you represent, what's important to you, how you'll treat your clients, what's your value add, what makes you different from every agent. These are important things for people to know. And I have heard more than one. I know Eric Wright said it. I heard Jeff Glover say it. The best agent is the best marketer. You could be a so-so agent, but if you're marketing Aspire, it's going to make you look good, right? You can package yourself in a way that makes you look amazing. So even if you're just okay, maybe you're still learning, putting yourself out there and packaging yourself in a way that is exciting and makes people want to work with you, it will be a pivotal thing for your business. Processes. You should know the process of buying and selling inside and out, right? And if you don't know, connect with somebody who can teach you so that you know start to finish, up and down, back to front, how you get from point A, taking on a client, to Z, sitting at the closing table. You need to know everything that goes along. I know, like, obviously Lisa teaches her 101 Rising Stars, like, and that's front to back. So learning that, it's huge. Strategic partnerships. I think this one is a very, very big deal. I think aligning yourselves, and we talk about this often, about aligning yourself with a good mortgage company, right? Because obviously that reflects on you. They have a bad mortgage experience. That's what they're going to remember at the closing table. Aligning yourself with a good private home inspection company where you know that they're going to be honest. And if you lose a deal, you lose a deal because it's a bad house. You don't want to sell a bad house. Being with someone honest that you can trust, that isn't there to scare, because I've had that too, but is there to, you know, support your client, educate new buyers, talk about maintenance things and things to do 3 years, 5 years down the road. Those strategic partnerships are huge. And this goes to maybe even our fellow colleagues, right? So I know, like for myself, I've aligned with different people for showing agents to help me when I'm not available. Find someone that works like you, that you trust, so that you can offset your workload sometimes, or clone yourself, essentially. Like, I can be in 2 places at once. If I have someone showing a house here, I can be on the other side of town showing a house. I can do twice the work in half the time. And I mean, that's huge, both personally and professionally, as a customer service for my clients. So the more strategic partnerships you can create, the better. I mean, those have given me my mentors. They've given me my accountability partners, my broker. I mean, we've had, like, you know, strategic partnerships is huge. So keep that in mind. Presentation. How are you presenting yourself? This one to me is another really big one. Are you dressing for the part that you want? Are you dressing, are you showing up to be a professional? Do you know your listing presentation inside and out? Can you speak it fluently? Even if you've never been on a listing appointment, you can learn a listing presentation. You can learn a listing script of how to speak at a listing presentation. Do you have when you're meeting a buyer, how are you presenting yourself when you meet a buyer? You know, are you speaking confidently? Are you coming equipped? Do you know where, you know, the market is? Are you coming with information? Are you coming prepared? You know, a lot of times, you know, especially new agents, make sure you're printing a listing ticket, make sure you're printing out the seller's disclosure so that you can review them before you go. And if you only have a couple of clients, you're going to see a house, look through the pictures so that you can talk about the house when you're there. Be prepared, fully prepared. Make sure your presentation is tight. If you're sitting there with the it's okay not to know things, but instead of the like scrambling, if you're new, bring a notebook with you, and then you say, oh, you know what? I'm not certain. I'll find out for you, and actually find out for them. Your presentation is huge. The next is scripts, and that kind of ties into that presentation. Scripts go the full gamut, right? It's when you're prospecting, it's when you're at a listing appointment, it's when you're pre-qualifying a buyer over the phone, when you're pre-qualifying a listing over the phone. The more that knowledge that you have of the right questions to ask and the right approach, the better overall you'll be. And I think that will build your confidence as well. So maybe things that you're less confident about, spend the time learning those scripts so that when the time comes that you need them, you'll be prepared. The next is legal. So obviously, as a real estate agent, there are a lot of legal things, why we do continuing education, and keep that current, but keep that in mind all the time, right? You always want to be above board, ethically, legally. Make sure that you're adhering to our legal guidelines for your housing, all of that. Know that what you can and can't talk about when you're with a client, just to keep yourself out of trouble. Market knowledge. So this I think is good to know, especially like kind of wrapping back to what I was talking about earlier about the interest rates. You need to know where the market is kind of at all times. And part of that is monitoring the market every single day, seeing what's coming on the market. And no, I don't memorize every home, but a lot of times I look at like the new homes that come in the market every day, and I might be able to, I especially pay attention to where my farm is. So every house in Trenton, I know if it comes on the market, I know. And that way, if I'm at a tennis match or a band meeting or whatever, and someone says, oh, did you see that house on Medford? Yeah, I did, blah, 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 blah. Like I'll know a little bit about it so that I can speak about it openly. So especially your farm, know those properties inside and out. But also know, market trends, things like that where right now we don't have enough inventory for the amount of buyers on the market, that homes that are nice are still selling over asking, multiple offers very competitively, and know about the interest rates, right? Right now, even if it's a ballpark, because people ask me all the time, where are the interest rates? And I'll give them a range. Rob, what's the range of interest rates right now, even a ballpark? 6.5 to low 7s. So everyone on here should know that. If a buyer asks you, everyone has a lender that they can talk to. Rob is always here to help. And you should know that. You should be able to, confidently say, well, to any buyer, but you can always buy points too, so keeping that in mind. And obviously you always say, it just depends on your credit score and some other factors. So let me connect you with a well-qualified lender to give you exact numbers. So I always switch that around. Communication, of course, it's like, is there anything more important in our lives in general than communicating? And it is in every component of real estate, up and down. So making sure that your current people, stay in communication with them, even if there's not a house that they want to see. Usually once a week, I'll send a message. Hey, I was just thinking about you. I haven't seen anything that's quite what you were looking for this week, but just so you know, I'm keeping my eye out. Or a past client, or like a past, maybe someone that's fallen off and wasn't really serious. I just messaged a girl the other day. Hey, you said you were looking in the spring. Are you still thinking about finding a home in the Downriver area? Just those little touches all the way through. When you're in the pending process, reaching back out to, your client, staying in front of them. Hey, everything seems to be going great with your transaction. This just happened. This just happened. This is the next thing that will happen. Giving them information. You can never give your client too much information. No clients are like, oh my gosh, she told me too many things. No, this is new. We do this every day, day in and day out. And it becomes like a habit. We know the process, or at some point you will know the process by the back of your hand, but this is new to people. They don't move, sometimes it's 5, 7, 10, 20 years. And even if they've moved anywhere in that time frame, any of those different time frames, the more information you give them, the better quality service that they're going to feel like they're getting. So stay in communication always. And that goes to, if you feel like an appraisal is taking too long, you're the listing agent, or something doesn't seem like it's quite going right, call the other mortgage company. They can't disclose everything to you, but you can light a fire under them in case the agent on the other end is not doing that. So that's another form of communication that's important for sure. Negotiation skills. Part of this, of course, is being a master negotiator. Being able to negotiate anything and everything, right? From appraisals to home inspections. Those are huge. That's a huge skill set. And that one, unfortunately, is learned through over time, right? That's not something that you automatically get. It's something that is developed, and it's very situational. I can say, 14 years in the business, and I still have things where I'm like, I'm going to negotiate this, or an agent will bring something to me and I'm like, oh God, that's a mess, but there oftentimes, because everyone wants the same thing at the end, right? Everyone wants happy clients. Everyone wants to get a paycheck, hopefully, that you all have the same goal. And so often, I always go team approach, right? We're all a team. We all want the same thing. And most things can be negotiated. Every once in a while, there's something that isn't able to be, but most things can be negotiated. And job discipline. This is the toughest, I think, is staying consistent in what you are supposed to do. Every day, waking up and being your own boss and the best boss ever. And the best boss is kind to you, right? It's positive self-talk. It's hyping you up every day. High five in the mirror, right, Lise? It is saying, I want to be successful. I want to help people. I am fortunate to have this job. It's positive affirmations, right? You start your day with the right mindset. I like saying, today I'm going to get a new contract, a new client, or a new client or an appointment. Every day I wake up and I say that I'm going to get a contract, a client, or an appointment. And so I say that to myself every morning. It's going to be a great day. Personally, I'm going to have a great day. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to show gratitude to others. Professionally, I'm going to get a client, a contract, or an appointment, and I'm going to take care of myself by eating healthy and doing something, physical fitness wise for my body. Like, and every day I'm waking up like that. And so then my discipline goes into what lead generation am I going to do today? How am I going to connect with my past clients? Like, I'm constantly thinking of that. And so job discipline is important. Just because you're your own boss doesn't mean that you can give yourself the morning off just because you don't feel like it, right? Being your own boss means keeping you on track, that you are leading yourself in the right direction to be the very best version of you that gets the most done, most productivity, and is successful, right? You should want success for yourself. And I don't know, a month ago or so, we talked about, like, it is very, very hard work, right? And it's hard work to be successful in this particular industry, but I would rather work hard because it's also hard to be broke, and it sucks to be broke, right? So doing the hard work to being successful and really changing people's lives is a huge honor, and you should honor yourself and those people, right, that you want to help, and put your max effort in. Okay, so everyone has this assessment in front of them of what that takes. And really, like, obviously we don't need to do this together necessarily, but, well, I guess I'll start with this. Is there anything on there, and anyone is like, oh, you totally missed this. This is a huge part. Or any contribution into something that, like, sparked, like, oh, I could be better at that. I could be better at that. There is one in the chat, Angela Lee. Maybe Ingrid, maybe you could post it one more time just for the people that came on a little bit later, if you don't mind. Thank you. Okay. Michael loves it. But it really is. Michael's owning it. I'm sorry I copyrighted that. But no, and it's hard because, like, even like myself, like, I see myself failing at some of this, right? Some of this stuff I really mastered. I feel like it is a 10. I am killing it. But then other things, I'm like, God, I suck at that. And that's okay, right? Because we should always be improving and figuring out ways to better ourselves. So I'm okay with that. But I'm not going to stay there, right? I'm not going to stay in that. Like, I might get down, oh my gosh, my marketing, I know, I was talking to Angelina about it yesterday. My marketing is garbage. I'm terrible at it. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's one of those things where I'm self-conscious about things, and I'm like, I don't know. I struggle with it, and I know that, but I have to make that commitment, right? So maybe I take like 2, obviously if you work on the whole list, you're going to cry, and I'm not trying to bring tears to anybody here, but why don't you take 1 or 2 things and say, okay, for the next month, I'm going to commit to being better about this, being more proficient at that, whatever, or going to a training about this, whatever it is, or connecting with another agent to hold me accountable to do that. Like, pick something out to make yourself just that much better. And then all of a sudden you'll find, okay, now I'm really good at follow-up. I have a system, I'm doing it, I'm on top of it. All right, so next step, I'm working on my processes. I want to make sure that I know this inside and out, or, I want to really dig into legal so that I know how to protect myself and what my job is, what the boundaries of my career are, whatever. I really want to work on negotiations. So maybe you do some role playing with another agent where you're like, okay, we have a low appraisal. What do you say? So that you're prepared and you're ready when the time comes. Or, a private home inspection went bad. What are our options here? And know what you can do to save your transactions. Yes, Michael.
Well, I was just gonna say that clearly in our organization here, guys, the thing that you're lacking in, someone else is gonna be better at.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Talk about building those relationships like we were at the beginning of this conversation.
I love
With
that.
someone you don't know or someone that you see around quite often, lean on those people because they are going, like, if you're bad at time management, someone else is gonna be better at it and is going to have the steps to put it in place to make it a lot easier for you. And like Amy said, hold you accountable to it, make those partnerships within the organization. It's very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Strategic partnerships, right? That's a perfect example, is an accountability partner, right? Someone who will actually hold you accountable and be mean if they need to be mean to you out of love, right? I mean, like anyone who has been in like one of my groups, my gold diggers groups or mentoring, like I am mean sometimes because it's not because I'm a mean person. I think everyone knows that. I mean, I am a little bit mean, but like not super mean. But I want success. It's tough love, right? I want the best for you guys. I want you to be successful. I want you to be excited. I want to see you be real estate agents 2 months from now, 10 months from now, a year from now, 10 years from now, right? I want you to be with me when I'm 100. Being a real estate agent still. I want you to love your career. And so I will be mean sometimes and call you guys out on things because I want that success for you, for sure. So accountability, it's huge. And I love what Michael said, because someone is always better at something than you are. Always, 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 always. Like I look to Lisa, like she was so good. Like networking is her gift 100%. Mike, same thing. His gift is networking. He is so good at it. It's like those people inspire me to even be a better version of myself. So maybe I feel like I'm a 7 or an 8 with networking, but I want to be a 10. I want to be a 12. I want to be off the charts because I know that's what I need to do. And it's been a learning process, right? So, some things you fall in the middle and you get better and better at and sharpen those skills.
You can
I
always
put,
always pull someone else up.
Yes, you can always reach for someone else and you can always pull someone else up. I love that. I mean, that's like my entire life mantra, I think. There's always something better that I would like to achieve, but I'm always willing to help other people to level up their stuff too. So Lisa, you had something?
yeah, I put 8 as my networking goal or my score, because I do feel that I do miss a lot of opportunities that I could actually even go further with that. But two of the fun things that we did in the Rising Stars that might help people is we played a game to where you could say anything to me and I will turn it into talking about real estate. So if you just kind of do that with your friends or your coworkers, right? They bring up anything. Oh, that ink pen is so nice, right? Or whatever, right? Your shoes are great. Oh, these are so comfortable. I'm on my feet all day, showing houses, right? Or anything that someone brings up, I can turn it around into telling them that I'm a real estate agent. And so it's just a fun way. It's just a fun game that we play. So if you guys, get the chance, try that. And then also when Amy's talking about marketing, I had everyone create their aggressive marketing plan. And the idea is to be able to rattle that aggressive marketing plan off the top of your head at any moment. And not have it be something like, oh, well, what do you do differently, Amy? And you're like, right. So just consider that, like, what is truly your marketing plan? If someone said, I need the best agent on earth to sell my house, and you want to apply for that job, what is your marketing plan? And be able to effectively communicate that easily. So those are just 2 things that I thought might be helpful here. So taken into consideration.
No,
what
that's
everybody-
great. No, and I
hired.
probably should have expanded to that portion of marketing too, right? You want your clients to know that you're going to market their property and you're going to, put it on Facebook and put it on, Instagram, or, make sure that it's on, even though it automatically goes on the, all of the websites, Zillow and Realtor.com, but make that part of it. They're doing, even though Zillow and Realtor.com are doing it for them or for you, sorry, you can make that part of your marketing plan. Oh, it's going to go on all of the major home websites, including Zillow and Realtor.com. And we're going to have an open house, and, we're going to do a ton of advertising, and I'm going to put it out to my network of over, 200 agents before it even goes on the market, things like that to get them excited. So marketing, that's huge. And I love that game. That's really fun. I would probably be pretty good at that. How to say I'm a real estate agent in 100 languages. No, but no, I really like that those are excellent tips. And this is like what she said about having like the marketing, angle, I think is huge, because I had a mortgage lender come in here, which I always think they're pretty brave to come in here. I'm like, they're always like, oh, maybe like I'm in a mortgage company already. And it's always awkward. So I'm like, well, it's pretty bold of them. But the guy said to me, he goes, yeah, we pretty much do what everybody else does. Oh, well, sign me up. That sounds fun. I was like, and know your audience, of course, too, right? Because the other thing he said was like, and I'm a kind of a girly girl, and he was like, so are you into like big game fishing? And I was like, no, Devin, I'm a girl. Like, so I was like, it was very awkward. It was like I don't know. He just wasn't reading his audience. And so, part of it is reading your audience. I probably should have put actually personality styles on here somewhere too. Shouldn't I have, Lisa? But maybe that's like advanced. I don't know. These are kind of like, I think, basic things.
This is 2.0.
That's 2.0. Yeah. I'll have a list of 2.0. All right. Anyone else have anything?
I do think this is very fun.
Thank you.
You know where you're strong, you know where you're weak, and it really puts it in perspective, gives you an overall perspective.
Yes. Yeah. And this isn't like, I didn't put this together to be like, oh man, I just suck at so much of this. But again, it's to inspire and like, really like, cause sometimes it's like, what do I even work on? Or what do I even improve? But it gives you like a baseline, and you can kind of see your progress, right? And see where you end up, and, maybe take this now and then look at where you are in the fall. We're like in the midst of spring now, look in the fall and see where you're at, and see, how you've improved. So next week, Ron Provenzano is going to come to Friday Fire. He is a mix of salty, and there's some sweet in there somewhere, but mostly salty. But he's a super great agent. His conversion rate is like ridiculous. Like, he will literally force you into being his client, I think. But what I will say is he is a master negotiator. I have learned so much and applied so much of what he has taught me in my way, right? So I don't do it the wrong way. He's a little too aggressive for me, but I have been able to extract a lot of things, and I've been able to apply in a more like down to earth, like Amy way, in a much softer way. Like, I've wrapped Ron in cotton candy, or I don't know. That's a visual. But anyway. Anyone who doesn't know him, when you see him, you'll be like, oh my God. And now you'll just picture him wrapped in cotton candy. But maybe don't tell him that, because I don't know how he'll react to that. But anyway, he's coming next Friday for Friday Fire. And, if you guys need anything, I'm always here to help. Any questions or anything, happy to encourage and support in any way I can. And otherwise, I hope you guys enjoy the last few beautiful days of sunshine here. And and have a great day. Bye, everyone.